Joe, did you hit up? I can't get her name out. Sheena.
It's the wrong time
Oh,
for
about the
that.
video.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did, but she ain't got back to me yet. But I only
Yeah.
have her on email. I don't have WhatsApp.
Okay.
All right, you ready, Mike?
Yep.
Go for it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode from Broke to Millions, where we share with you all the great information out there that you need to build your apartment and hotel business. We got amazing people here today. We got Joe coming in, and we got our guy Jordan Lowe. He is acquiring his first hotel deal, and we're going to talk about how he did that. Let's just jump right into it and get into it, guys. And guys, remember, you're one big deal away, man. What's up, Joe? How you doing, brother?
Hey, what's going on, Mike?
It's all good, man. You look a little blurry over there,
Can
man.
you hear
What
me?
happened to it? Yeah, he looks.
Is
Don't
it-
think small, think B has. That's what I like, bro.
Well, like that.
Yeah, so we got Jordan on today, man. We're gonna talk about how he put a big hotel deal under contract. All right, Jordan, you there, brother?
Yeah, hey, what's up, Mike? What's up, Joe? How's everyone doing?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good, man. So, tell us, what hotel and what did you put? Like, how many keys is this thing? What did you get under contract?
Yeah. So this is a hotel deal that's in North Little Rock. It's 84 keys, unbranded. It's an independent hotel called the Hilltop Hotel. Um, just got it. I don't know. It's probably been 2 weeks now that we got it under contract and we started escrow. So we're moving forward with it.
Wait a minute, man. You got a hotel under contract. What? Like, how much is this thing worth? Uh-oh. We got a delay
Two
here.
million. We're gonna have to put a lot of money into it because it's. Oh,
Can you hear us, Jordan?
I can hear you. Yeah, I can see that I'm delayed on the screen though.
Don't worry about it. Just keep talking, brother. Don't worry about it. What did you
All
put under contract? How many keys? It's 80 keys. You put under 2 million. How much you got to put in it?
We're gonna put in about 1.5 to get it up and running. It is a heavy lift. It's been pretty run down. Um, we had Choice and Wyndham coming in, looking at it. Ultimately, we are more than likely going to be running with Choice and their Suburban Studios, which is an extended stay.
Oh, nice.
Part of their key money.
So you're able to get some key money there?
Yeah, we're looking at anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000 a key to help offset and contribute towards doing all the PIP and rehab.
Oh, nice, man. So 3,000 times 80.
Yeah,
So you're
Mike,
getting like a quarter, 250,000 to help offset the renovations?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, how the heck did you come up with, like, are you rich, man? Like, where you come from? Like, you jumping straight into hotels. Like, how were you able to put this together?
A I was able to do this because I have I invested in myself first and foremost. I knew about real estate investing. I knew it was a great path, a great way to whether you want it to replace your W-2 or fast forward, skipping a lot of the steps, I joined Mike Ealy's mastermind, joined your mastermind, which is where I learned everything that I know as far as hotels and apartment investing, and was able to put together a team within the mastermind. And I'm just one piece of it, and we were able to work together to get to where we're at.
Now, what were you doing before you joined the mastermind? Like, what's all the things that you work on? Like, what type of real estate were you doing before this?
Yeah. So I had a couple mentors way back when. They were in the fire service. They kind of invested in real estate more as a side hustle.
Okay.
So I knew that it was a good, and 3 years ago, I think I bought 2 single family rentals, pretty much turnkey. And in that process, I learned what the Burr method was. And
Okay.
in learning what the Burr was, I discovered this guy, Nate Barger, discovered you. And
That's right.
throughout that whole process, realized, Burr in California wasn't really a suitable strategy for me. It wasn't anything that I could necessarily run with, just for me. It wasn't the right tactic. And so, in seeing you working with Nate and what you offer, the education and whatnot that you and all the coaches that offer, that's where I decided, what, let's jump in the deep end and try and scale up. And so,
Nice. And so, what made you choose this hotel? Like, how did you come up with that? Like, how many offers did you have to put out till you finally got a deal? And then, what made this deal so great?
oh man, I mean, I've been doing your mastermind in the program for probably almost 9 months now, and it's been an absolute learning process. Because like I said, I jumped in the deep end. All I had was very limited knowledge and experience, but I had the dedication and the drive to learn this. I was waking up early, staying up late, sacrificing time with the wife and kids now for the future. So in that 9 months, it's not been some snap of the fingers. All of a sudden, I'm here with a hotel under contract. I've offered on multiple apartments and hotels, and had no one like gotten no answers. No, just they laughed at my offer. But
Really?
stuck to the method, stuck to what I've been taught, and the number that we want. And in this hotel, it was actually originally brought to me kind of in a wholesale process.
Okay.
And in that, the numbers didn't work. But then, lo and behold, the hotel came back on the market at the numbers that work. And so that's when we took the step forward and moved forward with it.
Nice. Now, what numbers were you saying that didn't work? Like, why didn't it work for you? Like, what was the thing that held it up?
So this company that was trying to wholesale it to us, good people and everything, their numbers didn't work for what we're taught. So we were looking for a certain amount of cash on cash,
Right.
profit that you're going to get from the hotel, a certain amount of equity multiple. So those investors that put in $100,000, they want a certain amount of money back. And the valuation that they were giving the hotel, cap rate, among other things, all the evidence and research that we could find didn't align with what they were saying. So their numbers didn't align with how we calculate in the mastermind. We calculate conservatively. And so we basically told them, hey, you know what, we're out. It's not going to work. But then, like I said, lo and behold, came back on market.
Man, that's great. I mean, but you studied the numbers and then you held firm to it, and then they still came back. That's kind of tough to, I know a lot of times it's kind of like an auction. Sometimes you put an offer in and then the price just keeps going up and up and you want to keep bidding with it, but you held firm because you wanted to make sure you got the right numbers that works for you. And that's one of the things I always tell people, like, even though that's a number that they want, you got to do what's best for you and just wait on it. Like, I had numerous deals come back to me that I felt were overpriced, or it just wasn't the right number for me. And I passed on it. And you know what? They come back to you and they want to do a deal, because they can't get any other offers on it. That's great, man. So you were, now you're a police officer, is that right?
Yeah. I've been doing it for about 10 years now.
Okay, I'm being serious, but man, how do you mix from police to going into real estate? Like, I know real estate is not biased, but how'd you jump from there? Like, what got that bug for you to start doing real estate?
Yeah, well, like I touched on, I had the mentors that taught me and told me that, and showed me that real estate's a good investment, whether it's, again, the side hustle or it's a full-time job.
Yeah.
And I have my retirement through my job, and it's great and everything, but I always knew that it was good to offset that or augment it and add to it. And so that's where the 2 rentals came. And in that process where I learned what BRRRR is and kept researching and whatnot, I kind of saw the light and realized, you know what, this could be big. I could replace my W-2 potentially. I could regain
Absolutely.
control of my life and my time. And for me, my why, everyone's why is different, right? It could be to have 100 Rolex watches or, 50 Bentleys. Or for me, it's regaining control of my life and my time. I've got little kids and I want to see them grow up. And so I'm sacrificing the here and now, a little bit of time here and there with the kids, working my butt off, trying to be successful at this second job, essentially, so that I can regain that time and spend more time with my family.
Man, that's amazing that you say that. Everybody says time is money, right? Time is money. And I kind of disagree with that. If time was money, then, I always say, I share the one thing: if time is money, if I gave you $1 million, if I had $1 million right now, right, would you take it? And would you take it? If I had $1 million just to give to you right now, would you take it? Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
But if I tell you you're going to die right after you take it, are you still going to take it? No. So, but so many people, that's all they have, is they trade their time for money versus being creative and finding certain mechanisms that they can buy their time back, so that they can have the payoff that they dreamed of. And for you, that's spending more time with your family and having this vehicle, this investment vehicle, pay for that, instead of giving up all your time using it out in the field. So, I commend you for taking that first step in getting these deals done. So, like, now you talked about how you said something, Joe?
Oh, I was just saying real quick. You guys mentioned key money, right? For those who aren't real familiar with hotels, why don't you guys break that down a little bit? What does key money mean? When it comes
Jordan,
to
you want to take that one, brother?
Yeah. What's the difference between keys and doors?
Yeah. Well, Mike could probably, not probably, I know he could expand on the difference. And I actually don't even know why there is a difference, other than I think it's just because hotels, you used to use a key to slide in or open the doors. I don't know why they're called keys versus doors, but they're ultimately referred to for hotels as keys. You have 100 rooms, it's 100 keys. You have a 100-room apartment, it's 100 doors.
That's right.
I don't know the history as to why. That's just what it's referred to. Do you have anything for that, Mike? I don't know.
No, I don't have one for that. As you were talking, I was like, I want to look this up and find out why they do call these keys, because they do separate, and people will correct you. They was like, I got 100 door. They were like, I don't have 100 door hotel. I got 100 key hotel. I don't know.
Yeah. It's the same thing. It's just a different title for whatever reason. And then key money, so AKA room money. So if you have 100 rooms, this brand, whether it's Hilton, Hyatt, Choice, Sonesta, Wyndham, whatever, they want you to open a hotel and put their name on the side, and so they'll give you incentives. A lot of these brands we're learning, or not learning, but they're bringing to us these incentives where it's minority owners. They want more minority owners. They want female owners. They want military owners. Key money is another thing where it's essentially a loan to help offset, hey, this deal's okay, but if they're able to put X amount of key money, $500,000, that's less money I have to bring to the table, which makes the deal better, which may make it hit the numbers or something like that.
Yeah, and for those like, well, why would they give key money? Well, one of the other things is the brands, naturally, it's a franchise. So they're franchising you their brand that you can sell their model. And they'll generate money off of that. So they take royalty fees. So something like a Wyndham or a Choice, their fees are cheaper. They probably take more like, I think they're about 7 or 9. They're not as high as the 15 with all their other different fees. It might be lower than that. But what happens is the reason why they give money, they were like, well, I'm investing with them because I'll end up getting some of that money back from the royalties I collect. All right. So, for example, let's just say they collect a 6% royalty fee, and that hotel grossed, let's say, 1.5 million a year. Well, just for easy math, let's just say 2 million. Right? So for every million, they get $60,000. So if it grows 2 million, they took 120,000. So over a 2-year period, that key money that they gave you, they would make back. That was just something that they kind of invested to help a new hotel to come into market and help sustain it and be profitable until they really can start bringing in cash. So that's tremendous. Now, guys, when you're getting out there doing hotels, I know a lot of you guys, this is a secret. People don't ask for anything. But understand, like, some of these brands, as Jordan was sharing, they want some minorities or females to participate in the industry, and they're willing to give funding. They'll go as far as forgive your franchise-free check. Now, they're not going. Now, here's the thing: nobody's doing any of that. They'll do it and put it on paper, but you're not getting any of that money until the hotel is ready and operating. So if they say, hey, I'll give you your check back for your application fee, I'll waive it. That doesn't necessarily mean they waive it. You got to write that check. And then once the hotel is operating, they'll give you a check back. So it's kind of like you didn't put any money down, but you had to have some money to put down to get it started. So now we talked about key money. You said it's going to take some work. How much work do you believe it's going to take to get this thing renovated?
So right now we are in the due diligence process where we're walking the property. That's where this team has been everything to get us to where we're at. I got a boot on the ground. Terry Simon, he lives nearby. He's walking the property. But prior to that, to get us to this point, talking to you, learning through the mastermind, what average might be for certain lifts or certain rehabs, whether you're converting to an extended stay like we are, what sort of an average calculation would be. So for this one, we're calculating about 20,000 a key in rehab or what's called PIP for the hotels.
So 20,000 a key, and you got 80. So you think it's about was that 1.6? Is that right?
Yeah, I think it's about 1.6, and then but we also have the key money too that they're
to offset that. So now you're down to like 1.4, 1.2, 1.4 and some change. What? Now here's another crazy thing, but amazing as well. This hotel is in Arkansas, but you're in California. How in the world are you making this happen?
The team is everything. I'm going to keep falling back on that because I wouldn't be here, two things: without the mastermind and without the team. Joining the mastermind, there's a guy here that says your network is your net worth, right?
That's right.
And meeting everyone in the mastermind and networking with everyone. There's people that I ended up partnering with. And
Nice.
when I joined, my goal and my strategy, because I got a W-2, I got kids, I got a wife. I'm not going to take a red eye to Little Rock. I'm not going to take a red eye to go to Ohio or wherever to look at whatever property. So I knew that I needed to partner with people in the mastermind that could do that for me.
That's right.
Terry, he's my guy. He's the guy there that can do that. He's retired military. He has the time. Obviously, he's still busy, still has a life, right? But he's able to do this. He fills that role in that team. So that's how we're able to tackle this property. I mean, we're looking at other properties too, and we're looking at other people within the mastermind that are in that location that could fill that role potentially.
Yeah, Jordan, when I say team, I like to say with team, together everyone accumulates money. And that's the way to get things done, man. So that's applaud. Mm-hmm. Now, what do you think is the biggest challenge about acquiring a hotel? And this is your first hotel deal, right?
Yes, sir.
What do you think is the biggest challenge on acquiring a hotel and in the process?
I don't want to keep talking about a team, but I think surrounding yourself with the right people. I'm good at talking and reaching out and being persistent. I've got the drive. I mean, so does the majority of the people that are in the mastermind too. They've all got drive. They're all hungry. But am I good with the legal stuff? Well, no, I'm not. Well, that's where Daryl, who's on my team, he's a real estate attorney. Boom.
That's right.
Fills that role. Right? Am I good with hospitality? Did I know that hotels give key money? Not necessarily. Did I know what brands to look for? Not necessarily. Rance, right? He's been in hospitality for 20 years. I got Rance on the team. He fills that role. Am I good at analysis and underwriting? I'm pretty decent, but I'm still learning, right? I've only been doing it for 9 months. Well, I have Malika, who was my account manager, kind of my coach in the mastermind. She's helping fill that role. And so we're all helping each other out and filling all those gaps to be able to make it work.
That's amazing, man. That's wow. You really do have a team, man. I mean, people filling in the gap like that's impressive. Like, so you found this hotel. I think you said you're going to put it 1.6. You're buying it for 1.5. Is that right? 2 million. So you're going to be all in for like 3.5, maybe 4. What do you believe this thing is going to be worth? Yeah, let's dig into some numbers here.
Yeah. So after stabilization and everything, the pro forma value is going to be about $6 million.
Whoa, $6 million? So you're going to be all in for like 4, and it's going to be worth 6. So how much cash do you need to raise, or like, are you going to get debt? Are you paying all cash for this deal?
So that's another team member that we have that we brought in, and that's the beauty, and also kind of the hard part of being in this mastermind is there's so many people in it that I want to work with. All right,
right.
We're all trying to raise each other up as we all elevate ourselves, right? And so we have the capital raisers in the mastermind. Could we raise it ourselves? Potentially. All right. I could hit up my boy Joe Bisbing right here and be like, hey, dude, we're raising capital for this. Give me 50 grand. We could do that. But we also have capital raisers in the mastermind. And so to answer the question, are we raising capital? What are we doing? We're partnering with Amit in the mastermind. He's a capital raiser. He has contacts, friends, family, whatever it may be, that have money that want to invest in hotels. He also has a contact for a lender. So depending on what we end up getting, the lender possibly even has a 15% down in lending opportunity,
really,
as opposed to the typical 25 to 30%. So it's still kind of up in the air how much we're going to need, but at most about 1.5 to
This just
invest.
highlights how important it is. Like how we always talk about, you got to be in the right room, right? People invest with who they know, who they like, and who they trust. Part of that is being in the right being a part of this group is all.
No, being in the right room is everything. Like if you're not in the right room, you're just not in the right place. And so if you're putting in 1.5, you're basically just off the sell of this. You should double your money. Like you're putting in $2 million. I mean, you're putting in 1.5 to get $2 million back. Plus, you'll generate some cash flow. Like that's pretty amazing, man. What do you think this equity multiple? And for guys who don't know what the equity multiple, that's basically, did you do 100% of your money, 200% of your money, or 300% of your money? Right? Is 1x, 2x, or 3x? Where do you think this project's going to turn into?
So if we're, and then I'm looking at I have it screenshot. So if we do 25% down payment, it'll be about a 3.3x equity.
Whoa, 3.3x? That's bananas, man, especially in this market, man. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah. And if we get the 15% loan, 15% down payment on the loan, it's just skyrockets.
Oh, that's going to go. It's going to go up even higher. That's incredible. Now, you said you're going to take this to a suburban brand. Mm-hmm. So the suburban, from what I understand, is an extended stay model. You're probably, I mean, they're notorious for doing great occupancy. What do you think your occupancy is going to be, and what do you think your ADR is going to be?
Conservatively, all right. So when you partner with hotels and brands, they do their own research. They do their own study of the area. Their report for this area, based out of 10, 1 being horrible, 10 being great, they put it at a 9.35, I think it was, which they said was like one of the best that they've seen.
That's great, yeah.
And conservatively, their numbers, the ADR, so the average daily rate is at $75 a night, where the occupancy would be 69%.
Oh, that's fabulous. That's fabulous.
So, and
then you're only going to be like 4 million. Like, guys, that's crushing it, man. At 79. Like, I'm just telling you, I know people that are like $85 a night, and they probably got 9-10 million in debt, right? I mean, so just guys, just to give you an idea, so we're gonna break this down for you guys. So you said $69,
75 with a 69% occupancy.
So okay, so we got 80 rooms. So let's just do it. We're gonna work through this together. He's got 80 rooms. So 80 rooms, we're gonna multiply times 365. Because we got 365 days in the year. So that means we got 200 days available to sell. We said we're going to be at 69% occupancy, right?
Correct. And Mike, real quick, it's only one room, but it's actually 81 rooms. So. Oh,
okay. We're off one. Okay. That's okay. Okay. But 69%. Whoop, I did the wrong. 69, 20. Let me do this again. 80 times 365. Do it the right. 81 times 365. That's 29,565 rooms available in a year, times 0.69%. Why did I do? Yeah. That's 20,000 available rooms that is going to be sold, okay? And then multiply that times $75. I had it right. That's 1.5 million in potential revenue in this extended stay model. I mean, you should net 35 to 40%. I mean, you could be a little more conservative, but 35. Let's say 35%. Let's see, 159 times 0.35. That's 556,000 NOI. If you're not catching, just put in the notes, even on Facebook or Zoom, if you got questions about this calculation. And then you're going to have, well, let's say you did get 100% financing at $4 million, all right? $4 million and at 8%, 8.5%. I mean, if you ain't got 100% financing, your debt will be $340, and you got an NOI of $550. $550 minus $340. That's $210,000 NOI a year off of a small deal like that, and you put in $1.5 million. Let's say you raise that. That's a 14% cash on cash deal. I mean, these are just very rough, conservative, but you're actually leveraging your deal. Like, you're going to have to bring out of that $4 million. Am I right? Is that right? $2 million. Well, yeah, you're not even really going to be in $4 million. Well, let's say does that 1.5 include reserves, or that's just the rental?
Yeah. So we have a full year of cash burn calculated into it. So as far as everything that I understand how it's calculated, the full investment need it's about 1.4.
Okay. So so you're only going to be in this thing for all in for like 3.5. Is that what you're saying? I did it at $4 million and it worked.
Yeah. Correct.
I mean, so that's even better. And then if you leverage it, that's even better. Let's say, because if you're at 3.5 and you bring $1 million, so now you're only in that 2.5, and let's say times 8.5%, that's $212,000. Let's keep getting you more like amortized. All right. So the mortgage, let's see, 2.5. This sounds like an awesome deal, man. 2.5 at 8.5%. We ain't gonna worry about the debt. Okay. I should have just kept my board up. That's $20,000 a month, and 20 times 12, that's $240, right?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the debt is going to be $20,000 a month times 12. That's $240. Yeah, I don't see how you're going to go wrong. I mean, even if you only net $350,000 a year, you're netting $100,000 off your $1 million. You're making 10%. Now, that's kind of worst case scenario. We haven't dug in. I mean, now who are you going to get to manage this? That's my next one. You know, because people, the one thing that's challenging is when you first start, people just grab certain people to manage this. Like, how are you going to do that?
So that's where Rance, with his experience in hospitality, is huge. The brands will give you recommendations for everything from the general contractors that they've used in that area to the property management, third-party property management. Also, another coach in the mastermind, Dave Vaughn, hospitality experience. She's put us in contact with a couple individuals that can help with owner-operator management. So we're interviewing third parties as well as those two individuals for owner operator management. And as a team, we're going to kind of collectively decide what direction we want to go.
Now, one thing, man, I know a lot of people don't think about, but ask the management to put in the game, right? Hold them accountable. You know, one thing that, you know, and it doesn't matter who you're doing, whether it's apartments, hotels, businesses, whenever you bring in management, you got to watch them. I don't even want to put on one thing. You know, you have to, you know, guys, don't think that just because you brought a third party in, you're not going to be involved. You're still involved. Maybe not day to day, but you need to check in once a day with management, reading the numbers, not necessarily auditing books, but, you know, making sure the accounts payables are paid, make sure the accounts receivables are taken care Make sure they're selling rooms. You know, one thing people don't think about is when they get an Airbnb or a hotel, they just count on the reservation system to book all their rooms. For example, Airbnb, most people, when they do Airbnb, all they do is put their unit on Airbnb and VRBO and say, watch out now, get to work, which is okay. That's not a bad strategy, especially if you're listing your nightly rents, your ADR, based on what the market is doing. But if you want to get that thing filled up, not only do you based on the reservation system, you got to go out there and sell and market. Now, I know it may be a little early, but how do you plan on additionally getting this out marketing? Because that's a key thing there. And with a smaller hotel, sometimes, well, a lot of times I would, make sure the GM is out selling, because you're small enough and it's extended stay. So I don't think this type of extended stay is not going to be heavily staffed is what I'm thinking. So have you got that far? And if not, I encourage you, but has anybody talked to you about that yet?
I have not gotten that far. I know that's something that we've talked about actually with another hotel that we're looking at, actually in Columbus, as far as what marketing tools they'll bring to the table. That is kind of more as far as we're working together as a team. That's kind of Rance's experience in his wheelhouse. So I don't have an answer for that, and I don't know that we're necessarily there yet. But we did just get the contract from Choice Suburban Studios, and we're looking it over. We're not going to sign it quite yet, and we're probably going to ask for a little bit more from them, whether that is marketing money or something to better that part of the deal. I don't know. But again, I'm going to kind of.
Well, Jordan, I'm telling you right now, bro. Let me just tell you from my experience, brother. The hotel of this size, you really want to find a GM. And guys, all our guests, you really when you're like 100 is kind of where it cuts off. Somewhere in that 80 to 100. It just depends on the volume of business. But I believe at 80 units and less, 80 keys and less, the GM should be the sales, right? And then here's the thing. If, I'm giving up way too much information out here, way too much. But that's what we're here for. But if, you feel you need more support, they do have like what they call a concierge service. You have like satellite sales offices that will sell for you, and now that only costs you anywhere from $1,000 to $2,500 a month, versus if you bring in a salesperson, you're going to be paying like $55,000. Really, it's going to cost you $70,000, right? $80,000. And the reason I say that, let's say you give them a base of 55, but by the time they hit incentives and everything and benefits and everything, that's $70,000 that you paid. And now, if they got your room sold out, so be it, right? So be it. Like, hey, that's worth paying them $70,000 because they got me sold out. But I think if you already start off with a strong GM and you got extended stay, you're going to tap into a different market. Like, that's not that transient market that turns over a lot. I mean, you do, but most transient markets, for example, people coming in town for a conference, people coming in town for a tournament, a football tournament, somebody coming in for a concert, they typically don't stay at the extended stay. I mean, I'm not saying they won't, but they typically don't. But the extended market you're going to have construction people, truck drivers, contractors that stay for a month at a time, traveling nurses. All right. So these are all the type of people that you want to kind of get contracts with and learn what's in that market. Like I was really surprised. I ended up getting a big contract with one of the utility companies down in Indiana. And the reason I was surprised, but I wasn't surprised because we actually had some suites that had kitchens in it. So we was like, look, you can have all the suites if you commit to this, right? Because that was our extended stay, and they would take like 40 rooms a day. Well, if you realize you just shrank your hotel, if you went and get you a contract for 40 days, for 12 months out of the year, your business is booming, right? You got half the business sold out. So you get you a couple of little small contracts. I mean, I think you can get over that 69% occupancy. Was that right? 69%, yeah. I mean, there's no reason why you can't get to 80, 85%, especially once you get into the renovation. But the sales is the key. So listeners, if you're listening, if you don't type in the chat right now, the one thing that you need is sales. Type in the chat sales so I know that you're listening. Say sales in the chat. All right, there we go. Michelle got it. Obu, Quentin, Nate, everybody. That is the key. CK, Bristow, Jahante. That is the key in your hotel game. Don't get me wrong. A strong GM is great. And because they're going to do all these things. But if ain't nobody selling, putting heads in your bed, man, forget about it. You know, what's a clean hotel if ain't nobody staying in it? This is amazing. So, Jordan, let's get back to you, man. Like, this has been an amazing journey. And you're making it look like it's easy. But is it really easy?
Oh, it's far from it. Far from it. Ask my wife. I'm constantly on the phone, on the computer, and she's over it. But she supports it, but she's over it.
Yeah. No, it's a balance, but I don't think there's a work-life balance. It doesn't really exist when you're going after your dream or your goal. I mean, because literally, I tell people you're one big deal away. I mean, this literally, you can make $2 million off your first deal and probably $200,000 in cash flow, net cash flow, distribute to investors. Do you think you could have did that with one house?
Oh, no. I know you can.
That's a challenge.
Yeah, I'll just tell you too, being a part of the group, Jordan, from the very beginning, has had the drive to network with as many people as he can. I mean, I remember when it started with you, Jordan. It wasn't coming easy. There was frustration finding deals, and before you know it, I mean, Jordan's name is the one I hear most in the group. He just really took it seriously about networking and putting teams together. Because that's what it takes to be a big deal maker. You don't have to have all the answers, right? But you have to be able to put these people in place, and Jordan, you really capitalized on that.
Yeah, and I think, Jordan, one of the key things, man, is the ability to succeed is hearing no, right? Like, so many of us always want to go hear the word yes, but I challenge you to go out to hear as many no's as you can, all right? Like, you got to start backwards, because hearing all these no's, you live for that, and then you finally get your yes. Because really, it's all about the law of averages. You submit I never forget about apartments, forget about hotels. I remember in high school, I needed some scholarship money. And I just said, you know what? Somebody's going to give me a scholarship. And I just need to put a whole bunch of letters out. And I'm going to send it to all these different people, and somebody's going to give me a scholarship. So I probably sent out about 90 letters. Same thing, and it was before I literally had to physically type out probably 10, 15 letters a day. Or you could copy it, but I had to, type really address it and stamp it and all that individually. And I sent out, yeah, on the typewriter. You know, there was no mail merge at the time, right? There was none of that, bro. You know, I'll copy the letter and then I'll literally hand type it, the address to and who, and then I do it on there. And every day I would do 10 or 15 letters. And I ended up getting 3 scholarships for about 15, 20,000. And slapped me on this day, my immature self. All I had to do was write to people a thank you note. Like I told them thank you, but then you got to write a follow-up letter and they'll give you a scholarship the following year. Yeah, no. Did I send a thank you letter? No. So which I share that with you. You're going to ask 100-something investors. A lot of them going to, now, funny, a lot of them going to say more yes than no. But even when you get that investor, let this be a lesson. You're going to have to send not necessarily thank you letters, but updates on how this journey is going and sharing all these different reports. So it's no different. But what I'm saying is don't be afraid of the no, because the no's are just stepping stones to get to the yes. All right. Let's see.
You always say, Mike, some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting, right?
Oh, I love that, man. Yeah, the SW rule. So hold on. We got about 10 minutes left. I know I see 1 or 2 questions. Can you see that, Joe? Dan has a question there, but I'm not sure. I actually
can't get in there, but I can't see the questions.
Okay. Walt, will you scale down? All the way at the bottom. He said something about curious.
Well, I might be able to find
it. There it is. Walt, what does that say? It says, I'm curious, do we have time to discuss how the deal is structured with the team and the investors? What is each partner's financial commitment, responsibility, percent? Okay. The bottom line is like, man, how is this deal structured?
Nitty gritty. All right.
Yeah, he want to get down to. He's like, man, let's quit playing games, bro. You know, Dan, I hear you, bro. Dan, one time with it, man. Like, Dan, like, man, give it up, man. Quit playing around. So how are you structuring this deal?
So as a team, we're all splitting it equally.
And I'm glad we said that because when we first started, Dan, that was actually one of your questions. Am I right?
One of my questions?
Yeah. Like how you should structure your team.
Absolutely. You know, there may be a time where I'm doing a ton of work and there's less work for other people, as opposed to right now, Terry's the boot on the ground and he's doing all the work, you know? So do we give a different percentage for someone doing a little bit more? Potentially. You know, if there is someone, if Terry found the deal and he's the boot on the ground and he's doing a lot of that stuff, sure, maybe he'll get more. But for this deal, we're all kind of doing an equal share and we're splitting it equally. Same with the capital raiser. So there's essentially 6 of us in the GP side, which is the general partner side. And then as far as splitting with the LP side, the partnership, the investors, per Amit, they want to get at least a 2.5 equity multiple. And so that works to be around 65-35 split. So they get 65 as a GP split 35% of the entire deal.
Nice. Okay. So you'll keep 35. Now, as a GP, will you be charging fees?
So we can charge an acquisition fee. We haven't quite ironed all those little, I mean, I don't want to call them little details, but we haven't finalized all those details. But I believe we will be doing an acquisition fee.
And then will you be paying a pref?
Don't know that yet.
We're
still talking with our capital raiser, Amit, and and learning what they want as investors. So I don't think that we have that final answer yet.
Great. Dan, did that answer your question? And then Lynn I think she has a question. The team you put together, do they short-term investors or do they do? I can't. Walt, can you read that one?
Well, Lynn's asking, the team that you put together, do they act as
Oh, hold on.
short-term
Start.
investors?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Walt or Joe. Who's gonna take it?
Go ahead, Walt.
Go ahead, Joe.
All right, I got you. Here we go. Lynn asked, the team you put together, do they act as short-term investors or do they share in ownership? So, what's the difference between somebody who's an LP, GP, how the deal structure, I know what Mike and Wen would say, it's like a million different ways, but generally you would say, right, that the LPs, they're not active partners, right? They don't do the day-to-day. GPs do the day-to-day work. But go ahead and if you have any input on that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you summarized it and suffice, I think. But I look at it as, my little simple brain. This is how I look at it: is the GPs are the worker bees. All right, we're doing all the work. We find the deal, we negotiate the deal, we talk to the broker, we go look at the deal, we haggle, do all that kind of stuff with a property like you do, whether it's a single family, a hotel, or an apartment, doesn't matter. We find the property management, we find the insurance company, the lenders. We're doing all of that work to get the deal. And then when it comes to the LP side, that's the person that's got the money, right? And they are just investing passively. They could potentially get into the GP side. If I had $100,000 to invest in the deal, I could be on both sides potentially. But where we're at right now, we're all still growing and scaling up in our real estate investing journeys. And so for us right now, this specific deal, it may be different on the next deal, but this specific deal, we are all solely on the GP side, and the investors are all on the LP side, the limited partners, passive investors. So they're bringing us, however it's going to look, $1 million divided by however many people, and they're just sitting back and they're going to get money however it ends up breaking down.
Right, and there's so many different ways you could set up the deal, right? I mean, there's just vast variety. And then, but yeah, you can purchase equity, right? Or you can come in and you can get lenders who would give debt, right? Or they can come in with equity. But Mike, you can talk probably more on that. But Skip has a question here. Skip's asking, how much out-of-pocket cash have you put into it so far?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. Because you about to get one. I think the real question is, how much out-of-pocket cash will you have before? If I'm, and Skip, you can correct me, but I think this is what you really want to know. How much out-of-pocket cash do you think you have before you start spending investor money and to acquire and get the deal to closing?
Learning and figuring that out as we go. All right, this is my first big deal. So right now, the down payment, so the EMD, for the life of me, I'm having a brain fart on what that stands for. But basically, the initial down payment, once we get the hotel under contract, earnest money, thank you, it can vary, but we had it structured at 1% of the deal. So $2 million, 1% is $20,000. As a team, we split that up individually at 5 of us before we brought in the capital raiser, Amit. Mm-hmm. So we each put in $1,000. So we all ponied up, put that 20 grand together. So
so you put the thing. So you put 20,000 down for earnest money right now. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And then after due diligence, there's going to be another 20,000 that's due.
Okay.
Whether we're splitting that or not, or that's coming from investors.
No, and Michelle, I'm gonna break it down to Michelle. That's 20,000 total. So they chipped in together. So they got a total earnest money of $40,000 if they decide to move forward that they have to put down as earnest money or a deposit or escrow.
Which they could get from investors.
Could, yeah. I mean, we could have had the investors do all of that. This deal we're learning as we.
Can you do it with without money out of pocket, right? Is it possible?
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Because we're learning as we go, and we're gonna make mistakes. We're discovering and learning things every step of the way. So could we have done this 100% with no money if we had a capital raiser that wanted to do all this? Sure. Maybe the next deal we will. For this deal, I'm fine putting some skin in the game. Especially being new. Investors, lenders may want to see you put some skin in the game. So for us, that's what we did for this deal.
I got you. So now, what are some other fees that come in? I like you to share, or if you know yet, but I know you're going through the due diligence process. What are some other fees that may have to be paid before we even close?
Well, we're getting people to come and look at the property, right? I'm not an architect. I'm not an engineer, right? So we're going to have to get someone to come down and do that.
Okay.
It's a heavy lift. It's not a turnkey property. So we're going to have, and today actually we had general contractors down there looking at the property. So there's going to be fees for bringing those guys down. Other than that, right now, I don't have an answer as to what else there might be. Kind of learning as we go.
Here we go. So other fee, two of the big fees, and those are definitely your due diligence fees. But here's let's just go. I'm gonna say about